What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I am back in a video with this time once again, we're going to talk about one of the best teams in the NBA, that being the Brooklyn Nets. And as you guys know, this Nets team, coming into the season, had sky-high expectations, having KD as well as James Harden, and potentially Kyrie Irving. Now unfortunately Kyrie, for various reasons, hasn't played at all this year, but last week news broke that he'd be returning, and is actually playing tonight versus the Indiana Pacers. So with that being the case, I'm going to give my thoughts on how good I think Brooklyn will be with Kyrie coming back into the mix. So with that being said, let's get into the video. So first up in this video, let's state the obvious. Kyrie Irving as a basketball player, whether that be in Cleveland, Boston, or even Brooklyn, is phenomenal, otherworldly, and has the best handles I've ever seen. And looking at his time in Brooklyn so far, in a short 74-game sample size, he's averaging 27, 6, and 5 on 50, 40, 90 splits. Anyone's blind grandma can tell you Kyrie Irving is a great basketball player. But I will say, with Kyrie Irving comes a lot of baggage, whether that be off-the-court drama, in the locker room drama, or just media hype and media noise that distracts the team and diverts from the ultimate goal of winning a championship. We've seen the media circus for Kyrie virtually everywhere he's gone. It wasn't as big in Cleveland, in Boston it was big time, and in Brooklyn it's ramped up to another level. So with that baseline understanding of the good and the bad of Kyrie Irving, how do I think he'll be as a part-time player for the Brooklyn Nets in 2022? I think I'm in the minority, but I think Kyrie's a part-time player could actually work. And one of the reasons I believe that is Kyrie, I would say, is one of the best offensive weapons in NBA history from a pure scoring perspective. At his absolute best, he's on the same tier as Steph Curry, Dame Lillard, and any other great all-time guard. And the skill set he has and the way he plays, it's almost ninja-like. He's sneaky, he's fast, he's quick, and in 5 minutes, he can give you 20 points just like that if you're not careful. And looking back to Kyrie's days in Cleveland with LeBron, he was definitely a two guard with LeBron playing the point forward. And I think for the Nets, he'll have that exact same role coming back. As for Kyrie, he has the rare talent of not needing the ball to score or be effective. And looking to last year's stats, when Kyrie played, he was one of the best ISO scorers in the NBA, averaging 4.8 points per game. That was 5th on 51% shooting. And out of the best ISO players in the NBA, Kyrie was in the 90th percentile. So when he comes back for Brooklyn, he's basically added ammo and an easy 20 points on 50% shooting. And I'm not saying Steve Nash would do this, but Kyrie off the bench, he would be instant dynamo, instant offense, and he could run the second team. I know that is kind of crazy, it would never happen, as Kyrie is a starter, but from a pure team perspective, Kyrie off the bench averaging 25 could be deadly and a lethal weapon come playoff time. And speaking of the playoffs, in the very limited time we had the Brooklyn Big Three of KD, Harden, and Kyrie, for a 5-game sample size, they were simply fantastic. In the first round versus Boston, those three combined averaged 85.2 points per game on 53, 45, and 91 splits. That right there is the best Big Three in the NBA. And if they come close to that in 2022, they're going to win the championship with ease. Now, one thing I do have to address is that Kyrie, he will be a part-time player, only playing on the road and not playing in Barclays. And for a Nets fan, that could seem devastating. But looking back at 2021, Kyrie was one of the best road players in the entire NBA, averaging 28.4 points per game. That was the 5th highest on insane 52, 42, and 88 splits. And 9 out of the 12 highest scoring games that year came on the road for Mr. Kyrie Irving. And as you guys know, for his career, he's been pretty injury prone, and rest is a big time thing for Kyrie. So looking at last year in Brooklyn, when he had 1 game off and at least 3 days rest, he averaged 28.9 points per game. Kyrie on the road with rest is something unstoppable and a big time boost for Brooklyn's title hopes. Now, one more thing I will address is that Kyrie, Harden, and KD have played very little basketball together. And for a normal Big Three of 3 superstars, that could be pretty concerning. But for guys like Harden, Kyrie, and Durant, 3 offensive savants, I don't see that being a big time problem. As once again, Kyrie, he's his own offensive weapon, he doesn't need the ball. Kevin Durant can also play off ball, and James Harden at his best wears two hats and being a great scorer as well as a great facilitator. And in a perfect world where nothing goes wrong, Kyrie, Harden, and KD, they play 82 games and they play brilliant basketball. But in reality, that's simply not the case. And I guess you could say, from an NBA analyst perspective, what I'm betting on, what I'm predicting, is that Kyrie, Harden, and KD, they're going to come together and they're gonna make this work. Like I said before, last year, when they were all on the court together, they were simply brilliant. And offensively, they're the best offense of the 21st century. Looking at pace, looking at scoring, all those numbers were off the charts. And if you're not big into analytics, you just want to watch the games, I would say this year, watch Brooklyn without Kyrie and watch them with Kyrie. I guarantee you, with Kyrie, they're going to be better, more explosive, and it's going to be more fun to watch. And at the end of the day, if you have a Game 7 in Milwaukee or Game 7 in Chicago, would you want Kyrie on the floor for your team, even as a part-time player? That answer for me is a resounding yes. As once again, Kyrie, he's clutch, he's explosive, and at the end of the day, adaptable and willing to make this work. And building off that, why I think this big three at the end of the day, they'll be successful, is all three of these players have some big-time narratives hanging over their heads. Yes, they're accomplished, Harden is an MVP, KD has 2 Finals MVPs, and Kyrie is an NBA champion. But still, with that being said, there are a lot of media narratives with this Nets team, as well as their superstars. For Harden, it's pretty obvious. People call him a playoff choker, he has no championship, he's never going to get a ring. For Kyrie, they say he's toxic, a bad teammate, and can't win a championship without LeBron. And very similar for KD, his big-time narrative is that he can't win post-Golden State. So my overall point is that all three of these players have an invested interest in winning a championship and sacrificing for each other. As I'm sure all these guys know, if this Nets team fails, they will be the biggest super team failure possibly in NBA history. And the media, they're going to be on them 24/7, as Kyrie, he's always a lightning rod, KD always fights on Twitter, and James Harden in his own right is pretty controversial. I think the only downfall for Brooklyn, it could be injuries obviously, but even more dangerous, it could be media pressure, as well as the media being toxic to their superstars. Look at the 2019 Celtics as well as the 2019 Golden State Warriors. The media, in my belief, were single-handedly responsible for both those teams breaking up, and I think KD and Kyrie both go to Brooklyn. So my overall point in this video, I think the Nets' big three, even with Kyrie being a part-time player, due to his offensive skill set, they will be successful. Will they be the 1 seed in the East? Who knows? Will they win the NBA championship? They definitely could. Will they go out and shame the second round, losing to the Bulls or the Bucks? All three of those possibilities could definitely happen, as once again Brooklyn is unpredictable, with 3 superstars who have something to prove. And once again, circling back to Kyrie, if Brooklyn wins the championship, I have a 50-50 shot he'll retire on the spot as a 2-time NBA champion, having proven everything he can in his playing career. I think Kyrie right now, basketball, it's almost secondary to his overall life, what he wants to accomplish post-NBA. So once again, that's my overall thoughts on Kyrie as well as Brooklyn, and how good they'll be for the 2022 season. As always, let me know your guys' thoughts. What do you think of Kyrie being a part-time player? And what do you think of the Nets getting back a superstar and an offensive virtuoso? As always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.